Guys, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price as we're testing this 50-day moving average for the first time since we broke out from the previous all-time high. The last time Bitcoin was at this price level was when we were right around that $11,000 mark, and coincidentally enough, if we look at the S&P 500 and traditional markets, we are also testing the 50-day moving average for the first time since we broke out from the previous all-time high. I want to talk about the correlations between traditional markets and Bitcoin, but we're also going to take a look at Ethereum to talk about whether or not Ethereum is going to break out to new all-time highs, or if we are going to break down from this bearish flag towards the 50-day moving average, and then we'll look at others' dominance, because for the first time since we broke out from the symmetrical triangle that acted as a major resistance once, twice, you can see we're now testing this breakout level, and I want to talk about what the best time would be for us to enter into altcoins, because we do have a potential inverse head and shoulder forming here, and if that happens, then right now might be the best time to get into altcoins. I want to talk about the bullish and bearish side of the equation. You guys are watching the Snipers channel. My name is Naeem Al-Obeidi. If you appreciate this content, remember to like this video, and sorry I didn't make a video yesterday. I was feeling under the weather, but I wanted to make sure to get this update to you guys, and of course, if you're in our Discord, I'm there 24/7. But first and foremost, let's take a look at the several market structures forming here for Bitcoin. You can see we have several different triangles forming, as well as this falling wedge pattern. But most importantly, if we pull up the Ichimoku cloud on the 4-hour chart, you can see it's still acting as a major resistance for Bitcoin. So there's really two sides to the equation right now, and I want to just take a neutral perspective on what's happening to Bitcoin. I want to be the umpire here and talk about the bullish and bearish case for Bitcoin. Now, I do want to pull up Bitcoin's chart in 2017 when we also broke new all-time highs, and then we came down to test the 50-day moving average, because I think it's important for you guys to realize how Bitcoin reacts to the 50-day moving average. What you can see here is when we first came up to break 20,000, we came down to test the 50-day moving average, and we actually found very good support for several months before breaking down from that major support area. And so the 50-day moving average, historically, when Bitcoin has seen these exuberant amounts of price action, has acted as a very good support level. And so far, we've only gotten one true bounce from that 50-day moving average. And if Bitcoin were to repeat historically what pattern it followed in 2017, then we'd most likely see us kind of bounce around within these triangles and these formations before potentially finding the next move, whether that's going to be to the upside or to the downside. And so I want to talk about both sides of the equation and what to watch for it now, because it's a very critical time for Bitcoin's price. Now, one thing I want you to realize is if we look at the daily, weekly, and monthly open right now, so far Bitcoin has found resistance at the weekly open. And so the first confirmation of a bullish scenario right now is going to be closes above this weekly open, specifically hourly candle closes above this weekly open. If we're able to do that and reclaim the 50-period moving average on the hourly chart, what I'm going to expect is for Bitcoin to also go ahead and break this major resistance level that has held us down since 40,000 US dollars. You can see here, this resistance at 40,000 has held us down once, twice, and of course the initial time, the third time. And so for us to come and test that for a fourth time, we will most likely break that, and we'd see Bitcoin move to the higher ranges here. But of course, that does not necessarily yield us a bullish case. That would just create more of a consolidation where possibly altcoins could see further bullish action. And so the first confirmation for me is going to be closes above this weekly open. If we're able to close above, then there's a high chance Bitcoin will then break this resistance level to take us to around that $34,800 level, possibly even towards the previous weekly open at $35,825. And the reason this green line is here, this was last week's weekly open, is because of how significant that level is. If we pull up Ethereum, you can see how significant that previous weekly open is, where we found massive support here at the previous weekly open. And so to me, this makes it actually more bullish for Ethereum than Bitcoin, being the fact that we're staying above the previous weekly open here, versus with Bitcoin where the previous weekly open is far and above current price action. And so when we look at Ethereum, since we're already on this chart, what I want you guys to realize with Ethereum is it's primarily going to do what Bitcoin does when it comes to price action. And we have such a large consolidation area here that this could really take some time for us to see any sort of momentum. But if Ethereum is starting to close any any hourly candles above this weekly open, regardless of what Bitcoin is doing, that to me is a sign that we're going to come up and possibly test this previous all-time high at 1440 to then go and possibly see new highs towards the 1550 area. And so that's going to be the top of this channel. And so the real confirmation of that is going to be hourly closes above this weekly open. Now, all of this can change if Bitcoin starts to see weakness and starts to test this major support level right now. And that support is really sitting at the monthly open at 29,000 US dollars, because you can see, yes, there are several market structures forming here. You've got symmetrical triangle, you've got the falling wedge, and so forth. But for the most part, all of these formations have a major support at that $29,000 level. And so for us to start closing any hourly candles below this monthly open, really, if we start to breach this support level, then the bearish side comes into the equation, and then we start having to look at these downside targets. Of course, we have a CME gap at 23,795, and then we've got the previous all-time high here at 20,000. Of course, if we take the schematics of the head and shoulder pattern, and we also take the schematics of the descending triangle, both of those would lead us towards that previous all-time high of 20,000 if we start to break down. So I think that's going to be critical to watch right now when it comes to Bitcoin's price. And so right now we're either going to be stuck in a consolidation phase, or we're going to see a bullish or bearish case. So far we're coming towards this weekly open, and so if we start closing hourly candles above, there could certainly be a bullish case for Bitcoin. And as I talked about before, when we look at those three simple moving averages, that 50-day moving average historically after an exuberant run up in price has acted as a solid support level for Bitcoin. And so this is very critical for us to look at what's happening in the total cryptocurrency market cap as a whole, because just because Bitcoin is moving doesn't mean that altcoins are going to move the same way. You guys saw with Uniswap forming new all-time highs yesterday. So a lot of these altcoins could certainly pump even if Bitcoin is consolidating. And so what we want to look at is the total cryptocurrency market cap chart. And interestingly enough, we're forming this very beautiful textbook symmetrical triangle. And for us to start seeing strength here above the weekly open when it comes to total cryptocurrency market cap, that would also be a confirmation of the bullish bias, and that to me would give us a high chance of breaking the symmetrical triangle and even surpassing that $1 trillion market cap for us to see even new highs when it comes to total cryptocurrency market cap. And when you see what's happening in Wall Street with Wall Street bets and GameStop and all of that drama, I think it's really going to start pushing people towards DeFi and decentralized finance. So I think this could be a very big catalyst for us if we start to close hourly candles above this weekly open, because that's going to show a very bullish picture for the total cryptocurrency market cap as a whole. We weren't even able to test the 50-day moving average when it comes to the total cryptocurrency market cap. And so that to me is all bullish. So things are not necessarily the most bearish, not the most bullish right now, but we're at a very critical point in my opinion. And so if we pull up the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, interestingly enough, we're just forming a very textbook bullish flag here from a point where we found a new yearly high, and right now we're below the weekly open. There's not much to look at when it comes to this chart, but what I do want to talk about is if we pull up others' dominance, we are testing this major support level, and we do have a potential inverse head and shoulder forming. So what I'm going to be watching is based on how Bitcoin and Ethereum move in the next 24 to 72 hours. If we're starting to find strength here and we find more hourly closes above this weekly open, I think that this could certainly break us out to new all-time highs when it comes to others' dominance, and that would indicate a lot of these altcoins like Aave, Uniswap, Polkadot, Cardano seeing new all-time highs. But that's really going to be dependent on whether or not we're able to get above this weekly open. If not, then we want to see if this level gets breached. If this level gets breached with others' dominance, there is a high chance we come down to this monthly open where we'd find even better positions for some of these altcoins. But really, with what's happening right now in traditional finance, I feel like a lot of that is going to push people towards the crypto market. So it's really interesting to see what's happening. I know a lot of people have moved towards tokenized stocks after seeing what Robinhood has done, closing the access to trade specific assets and stuff like that. People are realizing what centralized authorities can do, and now they're leaning and looking into more decentralized methods of trading, for example. And so I think that that's going to be a huge influence on what happens here in the next few days. And of course, I do want to pull up the DXY chart and talk about the dollar value. So far, we've just consolidated at this lower region. We have this channel here that acted as a major support in the past, and so far I'm not too worried about the DXY. If we keep finding resistance here at this 50 period moving average, then I think that asset prices are still going to start seeing, increased valuations. If we start to break this 50-day moving average and close above that on the daily chart, then there is a high chance that we could breach that 91.015 level. If that happens to the DXY, then assets are in jeopardy of seeing massive downside, because if this starts to rally, then the dollar value will take down a lot of these assets. I do want to talk about some of the trades that were taken on our Discord. We recently took an RLC USDT short. I want to talk about why we took this trade for you guys that enjoy some of these lessons. And remember, if you guys appreciate the daily analysis, remember to like this video, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel and turn on those post notifications so that you can get your videos and your updates first. Now realize with others' dominance, what we have here is, this specific trade that we took, a short, we had this major resistance level hit here, and we actually entered this short trade right around that 1.3785 level, and that has already resulted in massive profits. You can see we actually saw profits down to around 17% from this trade, and this was a pretty simple breach of a support level, and I just took the short at the retest. So as soon as we breached from this major support and we found some resistance there, that's when I decided to send out that short trade. And of course, I took the previous low here of when we breached this candle as the entry for the sell stop, and once that came down, of course, since it broke this ascending support level, came up to retest that, it came down, and of course that triggered our short trade, which resulted in over 17% profits. So congratulations to those that took the RLC USDT short. But other than that, I just wanted to make this quick update for you guys. I know Bitcoin is driving people crazy. It's going down below 30,000, then it's shooting up to 32,000, but really all of this is based on the schematics of the chart, and at this point it's really a 50-50 case for Bitcoin. But if we start to watch these important indicators, I think that we'll have the solid direction in hand here very soon. If we look at this Ichimoku cloud on the 4 hour, I think this is critical here. If we start to break through this cloud and we start to come up above it, that could be very bullish for Bitcoin. So a lot to watch here. I'm gonna keep you guys updated. Once again, sorry for not having a video yesterday. Thank you guys for understanding and being on the Discord and encouraging everyone in our community. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and until our next one, snipers out.